Let's talk about Laneway suites and the Laneway suite pilot that was issued on last July 2019. And Laneway housing is a form of gentle densification in our neighborhoods and therefore belongs to the missing middle. And among the different missing middle typologies, it actually belongs on the smaller scale of potential intensification. If you're interested in learning more about the missing middle, we have tons of information on our website. I will put a link in the comments below. But let's focus today about the Laneway suite and what are the eligibility criteria to build a laneway house in the back of the property. So there are 4 steps that you can kind of answer, or 4 questions you can answer. Let's go one by one. So the first question is, does the property have a direct access to a public laneway? And I know it sounds basic, but we will cover everything from the basic and every information that you need to know today. And this is crucial. The property needs to have a direct access to a public laneway. Question number 2, is the property designated R or residential in the zoning bylaw? Let's see how you check that. So let's Google Toronto zoning, and the first thing, Toronto zoning map. Click here on the zoning bylaw interactive map, and you can type the address you're working on, and make sure that it's zoned yellow and R. Question number 3, and it's actually a code requirement, is the distance between the property and the public street less than 45 meters? Or the alternative is it possible to provide a 1 meter clear pathway from the street to the laneway suite in the back? Let's see how we measure things. This is a useful tool. Generally, you go to toronto.map.ca, and you type in the address and zoom in until you see the property lines clearly. Then you take the measure tool from the left sidebar. Here it is. And you measure by clicking on 2 different dots. And the number you'll see on the left, in this case, needs to be less than 45 meters. And the last step is, what is the distance between the back of the house to the rear property line? Because you will need a certain depth, and let's take a look at how you can fit a laneway suite in the back of the property. So let's cover the 4th step using this 3D printed model. And this model, back in the days when we were still allowed to have public events, it was very useful to show homeowners or the public. However, I'll still use it now. So let's talk about the distance between the back of the house. So imagine there's a main house here and the laneway suite. So there's a requirement for, in this case, what I'm showing here is a 2-story residential unit. There's no parking garage in this case. Well, actually, if you think about it, there are only 3 scenarios. The first one is a 1-story residential unit. The second one is 2 stories, one level on top of a parking garage. And the third one, which I'm showing here, is a 2 stories of residential, so no parking spot. So in this case, the requirement is for a minimum distance of 7.5 meters between the main house and the laneway suite. And also, I'll take that. And also, there's a requirement for a 1.5 meter setback between the property line and the laneway house for beautification and soft landscape. And really, how the rationale behind it is how we improve our laneway, the public realm that is the laneway. So in this case, we covered that, and in terms of the dimensions, the maximum allowed dimensions of the unit itself, there is a limit of 8 meters in the width of 8 meters and depth of 10 meters. And it's really on a case-by-case scenario to understand the limitation of the property you are currently working on. But overall, these are the guidelines. And so there There are two main aspects that I think are worth mentioning because they are exceptional. The first one is that the homeowner is exempt from paying development charges on the secondary unit. And the second one is that the Laneway suite won't add to the FSI of the entire property. So it won't add density in the calculation. So let's talk about the approval, the design and approval process. The first step would be submitting your drawings for a zoning certificate. That process should take or takes around 6 to 8 weeks. And from then, assuming everything could fly, you can apply directly for a permit and start building your Laneway suites. And that is for today. See you next week.